Hey, what's going on, guys? So I know it's been a while since I did a Patreon video, and in this video I want to actually address or answer a question that was asked in the last one, and that was how I got into content creation. And I figured I'd talk a little bit about just how I got into web development in general and this whole thing. I don't think I've really talked about that much. So I've shared before that I went through some struggles when I was younger with addiction, with just financial struggles, anxiety. My life wasn't good at all up until I was in my mid-20s or so. 24 is when I met who's now my wife, and she got pregnant like 3 months after I met her. And neither one of us were in a position to have a kid. Like, we had no money, neither one. I think she had just gotten a job as a hairdresser, but I was basically a bum. So I needed to figure out what I was going to do. And I didn't want to just get a dead-end job like I always had worked before. Not really construction, but just like grunt work in construction or machine shop jobs, just almost minimum wage jobs. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do something that I really liked, and what I really liked was technology. When I was 11 years old, we got a computer. Remember the old Packard Bells, the old Packard Bell computers with Windows 3.1 and MS-DOS. So we got one of those when I was a kid, and I loved it. And then America Online came out, and I was always on it. I was always messing with the Windows registry and stuff like that. Not really programming, but just kind of getting into the system, and that kind of thing really excited me. And also I eventually learned how to put a computer together, power supply, motherboard, memory, stuff like that. So I did two things actually. I went to community college for a computer science degree, and that was kind of a waste of time. I didn't learn much at all. I didn't graduate, but I did that. And at the same time, I got my A+ certification, which was like a depot technician, deal with hardware, deal with Windows software, stuff like that. So after I got the certification, I decided to start a business, a computer repair business called Tech Guy Computer Services. And I was still going to school at night, but during the day, I would go to I'd get some calls, and I'd go to people's houses and fix their computer, or I'd bring it back to my house, fix it, and bring it back. And I was charging really cheap, like less than half of what other competitors were charging. So, I was putting ads in the paper, handing out business cards, stuff like that. And I just started to get some motivation, because now my wife was pregnant, and I had someone that was going to be counting on me, or two people that were going to be counting on me. So, I really got into it, and I did pretty well. I ended up getting a commercial space. I found a really good deal. It was $450 a month, which is really cheap for around this area. And it was 2 big rooms. It was an office with 2 big rooms, and it was on a main route. So people, there was a lot of traffic, and people would bring in their computers. I'd fix them, and did that for a while. But it started to kind of level off and then decline a little bit, because that industry was basically dying. Computers were cheaper now, so people were just buying new ones, or they would go to Geek Squad. Geek Squad kind of knocked over all the small shops on the corner, the computer repair shops. And I needed to add something to my services to make more money, and I decided to learn web development. And I already had a basic knowledge in HTML and a little CSS. I built like a crappy little website for the company. I learned a little bit in school, a little bit on my own, but I really dug in and just went to town, every day studying, learning HTML, HTML5 and CSS and WordPress, JavaScript. jQuery was really big then, so I was studying all these things. Joomla, which was another content management system that was pretty popular. And once I learned enough to put together a decent website, and I also learned some design stuff, working with Photoshop. I had a pretty good eye for design. I wouldn't say I'm a designer, but my UIs are pretty decent, I guess. So I could do all of it. I didn't need to hire, get a designer or anything like that. But I would do sites for small businesses, like 5-page websites, just an about page, a contact page, stuff like that. Mostly WordPress, some Joomla, a little bit of custom jQuery, like jQuery plugins and stuff like that. And I did that for a while, and I did okay. But I got to a point where it just leveled off, and I wasn't happy with where I was at. And I wanted to test the waters a little bit with actually working, excuse me, at a company like in the industry. So now that I had some experience, I had a portfolio with real projects, with real businesses, actual companies that were up and running. And I got hired by a local studio, a local dev shop. And they did all kinds of stuff, front end stuff, WordPress, jQuery. We dealt with Backbone. I don't know if you guys remember Backbone. It was a pretty popular JavaScript framework. And we did a lot of PHP. That's how I learned custom PHP. CodeIgniter, which was a really popular PHP framework, which I still love. I wish CodeIgniter was, I wish people still used it. And we built some pretty nice stuff with CodeIgniter, social networks and stuff like that. And Git, I learned Git. So I gained a lot of skills working for another company, but I always knew that I'd go back to having my own company, because that's ultimately what I wanted to do. I know a lot of people, their goal is to work at like Google or Facebook or some huge corporation. That's not my goal. My goal is to have my own company, and it always was. So I eventually went back to that, except now I wasn't going to do computer repair. Now it was Tech Guy Web Solutions, and I offered all kinds of services, web services, everything that I learned, that I picked up, WordPress sites, Joomla sites, custom PHP sites. I think Node was just coming out back then, so I was dabbling in that a little bit, and I was working with AngularJS as well. I think it was around that time I learned Angular. But anyways, I was getting more projects than I was before because I had more skills, and I was kind of building up a name for myself. I was getting projects online as well from sites like Odesk, which is now Upwork. I built up a lot of feedback, a lot of good feedback and reviews, so I was able to make a lot more than you would, initially. I think I was like on the top 10 providers or developers at that time. So I was getting work from there. Also, my website, my company website, was on the first page of Google for, I think it was WordPress web design or WordPress web development. And I was on page 2 for Joomla web development. So I had a constant stream of CMS sites that I was building. And then these were pretty easy sites. I had a set of custom plugins and components that I used. So I had this streamlined system of just creating these business websites for people and applications, a lot of directory stuff, business directories and stuff like that, kind of like yellow page websites. And that went on for quite a while, and I was doing really well, like 6 figures a year. And one day, and the Google thing brought me a ton of business, like more than half of my business. And one day I woke up and my site was just gone from Google, like totally gone. It didn't move to the second page. It was just gone. They did a total algorithm change. So that really affected me. And at that time, I already started a YouTube channel, and I just started it to gain more clients, to kind of put out there what I offered and stuff like that. And I also enjoyed making tutorials. I watched like the New Boston and some other channels back then, and they kind of inspired me to start making tutorials. So at the time where the Google thing happened, I think I had like 20,000 subscribers on YouTube, and I ended up having some extra time because I wasn't getting that work that I was getting from the Google search, and I was eventually contacted by a company called Eduonics, which is still around and still making courses and stuff like that. They were just starting up, and they liked my YouTube stuff, and they asked me if I wanted to do a course on HTML5. And I said yeah, because I needed the money now that that whole, all the WordPress work was gone. And I did have some other work, but I did have some extra time, so I said yes. They were going to give me like $2,500, I think, and I did the course. It was pretty difficult to form, because I was used to just doing YouTube, so it was difficult to format the chapters or sections and stuff like that. But they gave me a lot of freedom to pretty much do it however I wanted, as long as it was HTML5. And I ended up doing it, sending it to them. They really liked it. I didn't even have to revise it or anything. They just took it as is, and said they liked it. The students liked it. I didn't really know what they were doing with the courses. I didn't really care. But they said the students really liked it, and they said I explained things in a simple way. That seemed to be a reoccurring comment that I would get from YouTube and from courses. So they had me do a CSS one after that, and I did that. They liked that, and from then on, for the next 2 to 3 years, I would just do one course probably every month. Around every month, or maybe every 5 weeks, I'd do a course. And I was still doing side jobs, still doing, I still had clients. It wasn't completely full-time yet for about a year. And then I decided to just go in full-time. I was doing Eduonics, and then I was really starting to take my YouTube channel seriously. I was getting to, 50,000, 70,000 subscribers. So I was really putting a lot of effort into that. So I decided to just go full-time education. And I loved doing that. I liked that more than working for a company. I liked it more than working for clients, doing client work, because I didn't have to deal with clients. I'm not great with people. So it kind of let me do what I wanted to do without dealing with someone complaining and, having to revise stuff and this and that. And there's a lot of freedom in content creation, so I really love it. And let's see, kind of lost my train of thought. Eventually, when I was around 80,000, 90,000 subscribers on YouTube, and I've been doing Eduonics for about 3 years, I decided to look into, where are these courses being sold, and how much are they making on me? Because before that, I didn't really pay attention to that. I would just get like $3,000 for a course or something like that, and that's it. But I was seeing that my courses were making a lot more than I was getting paid. There was even Kickstarters where they would raise like 10 grand for a course and hype it all up, and I would do it, and I'd get like 3, and then they'd get all the profits. So I'm not saying this to like bash Eduonics or anything. They're a great company. They treated me good. It was my fault for not looking into like how much they were making and stuff like that. If you have someone that's going to do a job for a certain amount of money, then it's just business. And I don't hold anything against them. They kind of brought me into this world and introduced me to it, so I'm grateful to them. But I needed to just do my own thing, and instead of working for someone else, because that's really what I was doing. So I decided to rebrand my channel. I think it went from Tech Guy to just my name, and then I rebranded as Traversy Media. I decided to incorporate Traversy Media, so I got an accountant. I did all the stuff with the state, and made it an S corp, and did all the tax stuff, so it was an official company. And then I started to work on my first course, which was the Angular course. And I finished it, uploaded it to Udemy, and made a video on YouTube announcing it, got a really good response. And people bought the course that didn't even care about Angular, just because I had been putting out so much free content for so long, and they just appreciated that and just bought the course anyways. So I was really grateful for that. But the people that did want to learn Angular, they liked it. I'm not saying it was the best Angular course that there is, but it was decent. And it just went from there. You know, I created the Bootstrap course next, which did, I think it did, yeah, it did even better. And then I did the PHP course, the MVC course, which didn't do as well because not as much of my audience were really into PHP. JavaScript is just more popular in general. But, you know, it just went from there, and I always focused on my YouTube channel first, because even though I make more money doing Udemy courses, YouTube is my bread and butter. You know, that's, I take a lot of pride in my channel, and I enjoy being able to reach that amount of people. You know, I can do a Udemy course and reach a few thousand people, but did I say YouTube? My Udemy course, you know, reach a few thousand people, but on YouTube I reach a lot more, and I'm able to help a lot more people, and that's a huge reason I do this. It's not just about money, it's about being able to help other people become successful, and that's very rewarding when someone emails you and tells you, or thanks you and says that you know, you help them get a job, or you know, some people have even said, like, you know, you helped me get out of depression and all this, and it's amazing, and I wouldn't want to do anything else, you know, even if I got paid more. You know, I think I've told you guys before that I was offered a job at Google and I declined it because I don't want to do that. I love what I do, and there's nothing on this earth that I'd rather be doing for work. So, you know, that's really what happened. I mean, I started just doing YouTube to get clients, started doing work for Eduonics, moved on to doing it on my own, and that's it. You guys know where I'm at now. But yeah, so that's really it. And I know a lot of you guys have YouTube, or some of you at least have YouTube channels, or maybe you want to get into content creation. I'm sorry I forgot which one of you guys asked about this, but I'm sure that you asked for a reason. It's something that I would suggest doing if you want, but I wouldn't suggest starting it like expecting to make a lot of money, or having it be really big at first. Do it for fun. That's what I did. I did it for fun, and I did it just to promote my business. I never started the YouTube channel saying, oh, I'm going to make a lot of money and this is what I'm going to do. Just do it for fun. If you enjoy programming, then you should enjoy coming up with projects for YouTube, or, you know, and being able to do what you want. When you have a job, when you go to a company and you work every day, you have to follow their guidelines, you have to use their stacks. With content creation, you can go and whatever you're interested in, make a video on, and that's fun to me. I love that. So I would suggest doing it. Just don't quit your job and say you're going to be a YouTuber. You'll be disappointed. There's 10,000 new channels per day. As far as advice, people ask me this all the time, especially new coding channels. What did you do to get this many subscribers or whatever? And there's no promotion. I've never done promotion. I don't do any special SEO or anything. I just use regular keywords and all that. What I can suggest is to be consistent. Keep uploading videos on a consistent basis. Don't stop for a month. Keep going, and also put all your effort into it. You know, even it's going to feel like you are basically working for free at first. You really are. You know, maybe you'll get to like $100 a month or something, but you need to put a lot of effort into it as if you were getting paid thousands of dollars, because that's what people want. They pick up on that. They can pick up on if you're into it, and if you love what you're doing, and you just got to make good content. You know, you have to teach stuff that people want to learn, that people can find useful, that not too many other people are doing, or they're not doing it good enough. You know, that's really the two biggest things, is being consistent and just caring and putting out good content. And it's going to take a while. You know, it'll take a year or 2 years before you start to make any amount of money that's worth anything. But if you love it, just do it because you love it. Do it because it's fun, and you're learning. You're becoming a better developer at the same time. And that's how I always thought of it. You know, that's how I would bust my ass doing it for whatever, $200 a month in ad revenue, because I was constantly learning and becoming better. So yeah, and as far as equipment and stuff like that, you really don't need much. You know, you could get a mic you could get like a Blue Yeti mic for under $100. I use the Rode NT1, which is this thing right here, which is about, I think it's $200. The arm's an extra 100, but it's not that expensive. You know, it's not like it takes thousands of dollars. And then for screen capturing, you could use OBS Studio, which is free. I use Camtasia, which is recording and editing, and that's it's $199 to $200 for a license. And I just have an $80 Logitech webcam. So that's you know, that's all you need. You don't even need that. You don't need a webcam, but yeah. So it doesn't take much to start. It just takes a lot of passion and drive. That's really what it takes. So I think that's it. I know this video is going really long, but I just wanted to kind of let you guys know how I got to where I am, and that's it. So thanks for watching, and I'll try not to wait so long for the next Patreon video or vlog. Thanks, guys.